Alright, so I just picked up this new tubing roller from Vevor. This thing's going to be a huge help in the shop. So today we're going to get this out of the box and we're going to see what it can do. Alright, so here it is. So first off, this thing weighs over 100 pounds, so this thing feels pretty heavy duty. Now I don't buy any tools that I don't need for the shop specifically, so I am needing of a tube roller right now for this chassis that I'm building. So let's get this thing out of the box and we'll see what it comes with. Okay, so here's the unit out of the box. I did just add on these knobs on either end of the turn down screw. Now what this thing comes with is 2 sets of dies. You're gonna get some round edge dies that does up to 1.5 inch diameter tubing, and you also have a set of some flat dies, which you see inside the machine. Now there's currently all 4 bits in here at the same time, or rollers. Now if we're gonna start with our flat stock, I'm going to remove the actual round tubings that I have on the outside, and then that'll allow us to move these inner ones to where we're gonna get the right diameter or radius of our bend. First off, you can see some extremely solid construction of this thing. Looks like 1/4 inch plate all the way around and a 1/2 inch plate for the main press down on the middle of it. Now this center wheel right here, this is what I told you is for flat stock. It's got little knurled edges to grab the material. And what we'll do when we're rolling our round stock is we'll switch this wheel out to the round stock one, and this will be our pressure wheel. Also on the front of the machine this is the actual output for the crank handle. It has this flat spot right on the top. Now if you're looking at the crank handle, it does have that little set screw that'll allow that to fit into place. And once you tighten that thing up, you'll be able to turn that wheel and start rolling your tubing. Okay, so I have the tubing roller all set up. I'm about ready to go with the flat stock. Now this machine will cut up or bend up 1.5 inch wide material. I have some 1.5 inch wide square stock. However, the long side is about 3. Now here's the issue. It fits perfectly in the die. However, it runs into the one that pushes down and applies the pressure, so this won't fit in here at all. So if I were to have done this properly, I'd have been 1.5 by 1.5 box tubing. So unfortunately, I'm gonna move over to my smaller stuff. I have this 1/2 inch square box tubing, and we're just gonna roll this through it. Now the rollers in this machine are adjustable to increase or decrease the radius of your bend. So what you'll do is come in here and move these lower rollers all the way out for the largest radius, and then all the way in on both sides for the tightest radius bend. Now starting out, because this is a flat piece of stock, this is light material as well, we're going to start 2 notches back. Now with that in place, I can lower down at the top pressure plate and we'll start rolling. All right, I have that 1/2 inch square tubing in here. I have a little bit of a pressure applied with the top auger. Now all we need to do now is just start rolling it. Just after just a few minutes of rolling, this is the radius that I got. And I could have kept on going, moved those lower rollers in a few more, and got a much tighter curve or radius, and actually spun this thing around to make an actual hoop. So I'll give you a closer look at it. There's no distortion in the metal itself. So now I'm just gonna move on and use a piece of flat stock. We're just gonna roll that for the same radius and through the same procedures. All right, next up, this is this flap stock. So this is 3/16 inch thick and 1 inch wide. We're gonna run this through the machine the same way. Because this is a shorter piece of material, I did bring both of those rollers in a little bit. All right, I think you get the idea. This did a really nice job of bending this material. So now we're gonna move on. We're gonna switch these square dies out and we're gonna go over to the round tubing dies. So I did come across this 1.5 by 1 box tubing. It is some like 16 gauge steel, so it's rather thin. And we're gonna get this loaded up in here and we'll start bending a radius in it. Here it is out of the bender. You can see there's a nice arch radius to this. Now on the inside, it is a bit buckled. Now that will happen with box tubing, especially with the thinner wall material. Now we're gonna switch this machine out and we're gonna start with round tubing. So now we remove the flat pressure wheel along with the woodruff key in the middle of it and replace it with the round pressure wheel, and again adding the woodruff key. Now you can slide the center axle through, lining it up through the woodruff key. And finally replacing the round lower roller wheels. So now on to specifically why I bought this machine. So behind me I have this tube chassis Indy car that I've been working on. Now for all the bends on that so far, I've been using this JB Squared Model 2 bender. Now this thing is really good at making these really nice tight bends, but what this cannot do is make a nice arch radius, so which is something I need to do on my chassis right now. So here we are looking at the chassis. You can see where the driver's seat is. Now I have this cross member missing here is because this is where the steering column is going to go. And rather than just coming straight across here with a piece of bar or doing a 90-degree bend, I do plan on coming in here with a nice arch piece, which we're going to make now. Now luckily, this tubing roller from Vevor perfectly accepts this 1.5" DOM tubing, which I'm using for that chassis. So you can see it fits perfectly in between these rollers right here. So with that in mind, I'm now going to put in a piece of 1.5" DOM tubing into here. This has a 120 wall thickness, so this is a pretty heavy piece of material. We're going to roll that radius that I need to fit in the car. All right, here it is fresh out of the roller. So I'm gonna walk this over to the chassis and we'll see if this matches the bend radius that I wanted. All right, so this is pretty much exactly what I was going for. I can get this thing cut on both sides and notched and it'll fit exactly the way I wanted it to. So at a closer look, looking at these rollers, it's actually pretty nice to see behind those bushings there is nice bearings on either side of that. So I don't see any issue there. And during the rolling process, you do just want to oil up the actual rolling surface. So there you have it. This is the tubing roller from Vevor. Technically, this is the model TR60A. This did exactly what I wanted it to. It rolled my DOM tubing perfectly just so I can get it modified and cut to my chassis that I've been working on. Additionally, it'll do square tubing, so I've always been wanting to make some nice metal gates for my house. So this will be the machine to use. The only thing I did notice while using this machine was some of the rollers kind of got bound up just in the rolling surface area, and I just had to put some cutting grease in there just to kind of calm that noise down and where that I saw happening. So as always, this is a good machine. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to pick one up. As always, thank you for watching and join me in the next one.